So we're going to have our ordinary mode. You familiar with the second mode? We can go over it. It's going to be 5/7. Yep. And let's go and use our middle and pinky. We don't have to, but it avoids the shift. So the next string we're going to have 4/7. And then after that we'll have 4/7. So we had... And then we're going to have 4/6, 5/7, 5/7. So we've got... And I do shift up there. Mainly because there's all this like bending vocabulary that happens, and it makes sense to bend with the two stronger. His fingers. Yeah. Now this is the second mode of our minor pentatonic scale. It's actually a major pentatonic scale, right? But bear in mind, so this is an A major pentatonic scale, but we're actually playing over a D, right? Which is why we flatted the 5, because it's a D7 instead of a D major 7. So we flatted the 5 of our F sharp minor pentatonic. So if we go our second mode and do that, the A major pentatonic, which is the same as F sharp minor pentatonic, we need to flat the 5 as well. But now we don't know where the 5 is, right? Because we're used to the 5 being right here. We're used to thinking of it with our hands and not what the actual note is, right? So there's a few ways you can do this. One, you have to remember that you're in relation to your D chord, where that is actually the flat 7, not a flat 5. It was never a flat 7. It was never a flat 5. It was always a flat 7, right? That's why we were talking last week, and it seemed a little convoluted. We were talking like the flat, like it's a D7 chord. You go to the third of the chord, play a minor pentatonic, and flat the 5 of that pentatonic. And it's so many, like, there's like this historical lineage to what you're playing, which is hard to keep in mind. You need a family tree to know what notes you're playing. So the best thing to do is like think of things in relation to the actual chord that you're playing, right? And so this will probably help you too. When you go to your pentatonic over here and you're playing F sharp minor pentatonic, you're playing the third of the chord, the fifth of the chord, the sixth of the chord, which is what makes the 13 chord, and then the flat 7, right? Make sense? And then the 9. And it starts over. Exactly, that's the third again, so you're starting over. Cool? Now, let's take that way of thinking to this new mode. So you've got your second mode here. Right? Let's go ahead and play the ordinary mode before we flat the 5, but we're going to say the intervals of every note. That way we can flat the 5 after the fact. We start off on what? What is this? In relation to the... Which is what? In relation to the D7. We're flatting the 7th all this time. So yeah, this is our 5th, our 6th, and then our 7th. That's the one we need to flat because we're playing a dominant, a D dominant chord. So the 7th needs to be, boom, flatted. Cool. We'll come back to that. So we got 5th, 6th, 7th. What's this? It is the 9th, yeah. Yep, it's the 9th. And then what's the next one? It's the 3rd, right. And then next one? Yeah, 5th, and it starts over, right? So we have, basically the notes we're working with here are the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 9th. 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, oh, and the 3rd. Cool. And then it just starts over. So now let's flat the 7th. That's what we have to do to make this dominant. So, by the way, obviously these would all work without altering them if it were a major 7 chord. Since it's a dominant, we have to flat the 7, so that's going to be there. And then you continue. Cool. 5th. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the 5th. So after that, we've got the 6th. And then the 7. Yeah, exactly. So we got to flat that 7. And then the next two, that's the flat 7. Next one's going to be the 9. The 3rd. And after the 3rd, we have the 5th and the 6th. So, you know, that's it. That's it for that mode. Obviously, we know that that's a flat 7. But since we're just sticking to the mode, flatting the 7th. By the way, you can use your index finger on both those. So you can like... See how I do that? Makes sense. Uh-oh. That's it. It's just going to be 5/4. Cool. All right, so now, now there's something you can do. If you're trying to stick with the shape and just changing the note, you have to remember it. Okay, now, if you want to make it a little easier to play, but you're not going to... The thing is, if you knew this shape really, really well, it'd be kind of easy because you'd just be making changes to a shape you already know real well. You know? You can do cool. Anyway, but to make it easier, you can get rid of the stretch. Unless the stretch thing is something you're into. If Holdsworth were playing on a blues, he'd probably do it this way. But you could move this one note up to here and keep the rest. So it'd be like... That means you're only going to have one note on that A string. That's the idea. So either one of those will do. Or our first example. The same thing, moving this note up to here. And you get this. Ooh, failed. There we go. So either one of those will do. Cool. You start from the first bow of the A chord where everybody's super comfortable already. You know? Like that. Then when you get to the D7, you use this mode. Or... So now your changes are going like this. Here, you give it a try. I'll just play the chords and start from the A. Ordinary, like super old-fashioned. There we go. Nice. Okay, now the D.